I'm Dean Boyd. I'm an attorney in Amarillo, Lubbock, and Albuquerque. Been licensed 32 years. Was an insurance adjuster before I started all this. We got this case right off the bat. My client was hit by a commercial pickup truck when he was riding on a motorcycle. The wreck happened in that rural community. My client was in his mid-50s, just enjoying his time off, riding his motorcycle, and he's just going down the road, and another vehicle just turns left right into him, and he goes flying off his motorcycle. He was seriously hurt. His medical records were thousands of pages. The key thing to this case was that the Panhandle is incredibly conservative in what juries do. This venue especially was really not great for us. It's just one of the toughest spots probably in America to get a significant plaintiff's verdict. What happened to my guy was incredibly complex, and I wanted to be able to show it. The one thing that I know from dealing with insurance adjusters, they are very visually oriented. Throughout my entire career, I believe that you got to do show and tell. It works in kindergarten, and it works with lawyers and adjusters as well. And that is why I'm working with DK Global. It's the best kind of show and tell. The objective in this case was to help explain what all had happened to my client, but to visually explain it. One of the things I know is true. It doesn't matter if you highlight the records in yellow, you circle things in red, put an arrow at it. They're not looking at it. They don't care. You've got to hit them right between the eyes with the visual. I think the biggest challenge that I had is that there were so many pages of medical records, and I could just tell they weren't reading what we were sending them. But what we did was, instead of, quote, working with the surgeons, we worked with DK Global. They understood the surgeries, and they will create the animation to match the science so that it is admissible. And DK Global does that. The initial strategy is just to gather all the data, make sure you have the full picture. You need to understand your own case, gather up everything, give it to the other side and say, listen, you have all the data you're gonna need. I've given you everything on a silver platter. And oh, by the way, I have my records, I have my animation, I am ready to go to trial. The initial consultation that I had with Cameron Thies, we're just trying to create the thought process of what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? In this case, I just want to show all the different procedures and wounds that my guy suffered. It's a collaborative process. We had an inordinate amount of screws going into my client's body. The jury, the defense, everybody needs to understand the pain and suffering that my client's experiencing. Once you look at that, you're just like, oh my God, this is mind-boggling. That's why you've got to work with an animation or an illustration to go, this is exactly what we're talking about. A couple of things that we highlighted in the video was, it's a motorcycle wreck, so he's gonna have road rash. And that's something that a lot of people don't want to pay attention to. He also had broken ribs, and you'll hear the defense many times go, whatever, broken ribs. There's no treatment for it. It's no big deal. That's a lie. And when you look at the illustration, the animation here, you see it was really painful broken ribs. Also, his wrist was seriously pulled apart. You see the exact area where the breaks were. There was this huge fixating rod that was screwed into his hips. I think it's critical to put the x-ray next to the illustration, because sometimes people go, this is just made up, it's not real. And as you're showing them screwing stuff in, they see those huge rods sticking in my guy's body. These animations help you tell the actual truth in a way that can't be denied. The real message that came through here was with the mediator. When he got on the mediation with me, first words out of his mouth was, oh my God, this guy has more metal screws and wire in him than anybody I've ever seen in my career. At that moment, I know that my animation has won the mediator over to my way of thinking. We settled the case for $2 million. Because I had the animation, I really feel like we were able to get the other side to appreciate the value of the case. Working with DK Global was a great experience. They're very, very attentive. They want to make sure they're getting it right. If you don't feel like you're seeing exactly what you want to see, just talk to them, work it out. It costs money to do these things, but it ends up making a lot more money for my client.